chose AmericanEagle.com. We couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW-1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com. Listen to WIP. Is that okay? Plus other Odyssey stations and hundreds of podcasts. All free on the Odyssey app.
Win a national championship.
You're not wrong. It says a lot.
favorite event. And an NHL playoff game is the best kind of event you can cover or attend. It's like being inside a pot of boiling water. And you're 100% right. I want the Flyers to get good again, not because I'm a Flyers fan, which I'm not anymore, but because I want to experience that atmosphere. There's nothing like a cauldron, is what it is. Yes.
Yeah. The other thing is, you had a couple callers talk about one in particular saying they won't get past the first round. But hockey has proven one thing: you don't have to be the number one seed.
Yep.
Matter of fact, the number 8 seed has won the Stanley Cup multiple times in just the last, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they get in. Every team is down to a footing. You get a hot goaltender, it's steel series.
Yeah, and when you consider, and thanks, Brian, how well Vladar's played, yeah, for sure. And I think of any sport, seeding matters the least in the NHL, is what I would say.
Yeah,
In any sport.
I agree.
All right, Roger is our final call. Roger's in Bryn Mawr. What's happening, Roger?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Double great show. I love it.
Thanks, man.
I think you guys are fair and great. Here's my situation. What I point is, I think what's coming out in print media and in broadcast media, our observation is that a lot of really knowledgeable fans have been thinking for the last 5 years that Jalen Hurts game is a limited game because he's not a good deep ball thrower and he's got...
Roger, I would disagree with you there.
Yeah, that's one of his strengths.
That's one of his strengths is to throw a deep ball.
Okay, granted, I'm wrong on that, but it's just like he's got to be able to adjust. And at some point, when does the team sit him down and say, Jalen, you got ability, you're a Super Bowl MVP. What are you going to do? Are you going to work with us on this change? Because if he can't adjust and he won't adjust, at some point, you sit him down and say, give us 5 teams that you would play for, and you trade him.
Yeah, I think Roger, well, yeah, and thanks. And you say can't go on. He won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. So it hasn't been a long period of time. But I think anybody recognizes that there are shortcomings. And I think everybody recognizes it got predictable. But if you're trying to look at this thing from a nuanced standpoint, a context standpoint, as poorly as the offensive line played, you have to take that into account. It has to be a piece of this thing when you have the greater discussion around this. Now, that said, I think they're going to be better
or WIP.com/contests. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Living here is about more than just the headlines. It's the new restaurant opening in Fishtown. It's the playoff energy at the bank. It's the festivals that make your neighborhood feel like home.
KYW News Radio brings you the pulse of the Delaware Valley. From service journalism that solves problems to stories that celebrate our culture, we cover the life you're actually living.
Authentic, local, factual. KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news source.
No use denying it. Old man winter has been hard on our homes. If it's drafty windows, overflowing gutters, rotted trim, or the dreaded leaking roof, TJ Fitzpatrick can take care of your home repair project before it turns into costly structural damage. Don't keep putting it off. This is the best time to call the repair experts at TJ Fitzpatrick. No job too big or too small. They'll fix it right the first time. Visit trustpj.com.
I'm Paul Cozy from Cozy Jewels, and we're not your typical jewelry store. We're a family-owned jeweler and manufacturer, crafting nearly every piece right here in-house. When you shop with us, you're getting a curated, custom design experience, not just a selection of cases on a shelf. That means every piece is personal, crafted with care, and made to last. If you want something different, truly unique, and made just for you, this is fine jewelry the way it's meant to be. Come see us in Newtown Square and step up to the fifth seat. Color, cut, clarity, carat, and cozy.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
concerning to me. And my biggest concern about it is if they're going into a season where expectations are high, we can say if the expectation is to win the Super Bowl, to win a playoff game, win the division, whatever, the expectation is to be in the postseason. And that's not easy to do in the NFL, regardless of what your roster is. It's just not easy to make the playoffs. If they're concerned about the quarterback, that's concerning to me. So that's what's really hit me from these articles is our opinions aside, I'm concerned by the fact that it seems from the reporting that Howie and Nick are
it's one thing if your bosses come to you in a room, if you know, to use your example, if our boss Rod Lake can bring you in a room and say, Elliot, listen, like, I love you. I want you to be a part of this, but, like, I need you to do better before we commit to long-term because of this, and this. You need to work on this. And if they do that in a room, they have that conversation, it's like, okay, like, the stakes are set, and it's a different thing when these articles come out. And then to Mike Florio, if people haven't seen this, apparently Mike Florio's reporting that the Eagles wanted this out there, and that it's like a message Jalen's received the message or whatever. But it just seems like, and again, I'm sure they tried other things. I don't think this is the first thing they're trying. But to your point, I do think it sets up a precarious relationship moving forward when that's the method with which they go to that hard motivation.
Well, and to kind of keep going with that example, like, imagine if Rod called me, like, to your point, called me in a meeting and said,
we're just as hypothetical.
yes, exactly. We love you. We're both perfect. We've nothing to worry about. But, you know, like, it'd be one thing if privately I knew that the bosses felt about that. It'd be another thing to know that when I walked into the studio, everybody knew that they felt that way about it. So I think that is definitely true. But I'm also doing the thing I just said I wouldn't do 5 minutes ago and get too wrapped up in this. Like, they seem to have concern about his willingness to play under center, about whether he can play under center, about, you know, just like in general, him as a player. And this takes me to my second biggest thought that I have from over this, and it's probably actually number one, but I've had it longer, is they're installing an offense that pokes right at Jalen's weaknesses, at least right now. Could he work it at this offseason? I do think there's truth to the fact that last year, you know, he didn't work on under center as much, and then all of a sudden in the season they try to do it. Like, I get all those aspects of it. And to your point,
sometimes you have to be forced to do things you don't want to do, and that can help you be better.
And maybe he'll be able to do it, right? Maybe he will, but they're going into season with they themselves not knowing a lot about their own quarterback, and it's hard for me to feel confident about the team when they themselves aren't confident, or at least have some question about the quarterback, because most teams in the NFL that are good have confidence in the quarterback. Now, Sam Darnold, also Sam Darnold last year, right?
It happened 2022.
Right.
We that whole season, Russell Wilson, it happens. All that stuff has happened to Sean Watson, all that, and then Jalen comes back and it is his best season and all that. So, like, and I know that's a little different because he was younger and it more unproven and all that. But and Darnold, they paid him, but they paid him a cheap contract for a quarterback, and no one thought that guy could run through the playoffs and win. Like, he had a great defense, all that, but no, he didn't. He won a Super Bowl. So, and again, Jalen is still in that athletic prime age-wise. He has shown that he is a hard worker when he commits to something. This is the question, and to the core point of this is the fact that the Eagles felt they needed to do this to get this out of him. Now the question is, will it work?
Yeah, and I think, you know, when we think about next season, I mean, yesterday or 2 days ago, you know, one of the biggest draft experts out there, Lance Zerloin, is talking to, I think it was Colin Coward, and they're having a discussion about if the Eagles will take Ty Simpson in the first round, the quarterback. So, like,
He's played 15 games.
I mean, think about that, right? You know, so the questions are out there. In terms of,
They took an Alabama quarterback. No, it'd just be like, all right.
I mean, again, if I was Jalen, I would force my way out. But no, I mean, that's kind of what's hitting me the most about this kind of week in general, and I think specifically the end of it with the two stories is there's coming off of not having a great year. We've seen the Eagles bounce back, but you go into next year and they have questions about the quarterback. I think everyone should fairly have questions about the offensive line. AJ is like, if they replace him, if they trade him, if he is back, if he's the same player, it just feels like, now maybe all teams in the NFL have questions at this point. I think there's probably truth to that. It just seems like there are so many questions and so much uncertainty about a team that for a few years now we have had so much certainty about.
215-592-9494. Coming to the phones in a minute. One last question for Elliot. And we talked about this a bit on the morning show, but with this new message from Florio and Jalen receiving and all that, we talked a lot about what should Jalen do, like how should he respond to this. What do you think will happen? 94. It's a fascinating situation. And to your point, Elliot, man, we were already excited to hear from Sean Mannion. TAs, now we got Jalen. Yeah, this could be a good time for them to just kind of slip in there. Yeah, exactly. He's really bright and interesting. I like him. And hopefully his first press conference does well. Talk about putting perhaps on the expectation. They better be prepping that. I'm sure they are. Yeah. All right, 215-592-9494. The Jalen situation. Where are you at with it? We want to talk to as many real ones as we can. Let's start out where we do almost every week at this time. Not last week, but mostly every week at this time. Let's go to Athens and talk to our buddy Tom. Yo, Tom.
How we doing today?
What up, Tom? Feel like I haven't seen you since, the big basketball. Yeah, good to hear from you.
Yeah, since Mr. Fritz went down, huh?
The picture of you running out on the court to celebrate with Joe is amazing. Yeah, it was you that picked him up, wasn't it? Or was it? Yeah, you're right. It was one of them. Yeah, it was one of them.
Yeah, I lost my mind in the moment, but
What an event.
it was awesome. Hey, before I get into the mess that is our football squad, hey, Jake, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever heard of this Carolyn Bessette chick? She's looking around
She is. I think she, unfortunately, could have been one of the biggest influences of all time. If I, the 44-year-old, you heard of Carol Bessette? Yeah.
I heard you say that, James. I almost drove off the road.
It was so good. That's a deep cut from our pod. We're Elliot. Yeah. Elliot obviously watched the JFK Jr. show. It was a great show. Assumed that he was the first person ever in front of those people. It's good to learn about new things.
That's awesome. Listen, man, I have total faith in Howard Roseman. I do think he's the best GM going in sports today. But man, does he find himself in a mess. This is one of the more messier off seasons that I can recall in his tenure. Way too many question marks. Don't remember all these question marks surrounding the O-line. I mean, there's a question mark behind everyone.
Yeah.
COVID now. AJ, is he here? Is he gone? Everybody's sick of hearing about it. Although, you figured we'd be talking about that today, and then we get the whole Jalen Hurts thing. So, I don't think the way I see it, fellas, is money changed this man.
So it's hard to say that for sure. Like, on one hand, I do believe the reporting. I definitely do. On the other hand, I can only go by like my interaction with Jalen. And to me, he seems like the exact same guy from when I met him for the first time, ironically, in 2021. Since 2020, it was a little, COVID. But he seemed the same to me. It wouldn't be shocking if it did. He's a human being. It happens. All of a sudden, your star level has risen. You're hanging out with Michael Jordan and like all this stuff. You're the Tom Brady ambassador. All that stuff. So I can understand how you might not even realize it. But like the key, Tom, is if that did happen, and to the extent that it's been reported or whatever, the key is can Jalen realize that and say whoops and change it. But I also think, just quickly, Tom, like you do have to give to get a little bit. Like being the quarterback of the Eagles, I think is maybe the most biggest pressure job in all of sports, right? Like we could debate other ones, but it's certainly up there, right? And while Jalen is not perfect as a human, nobody is, he can certainly handle the pressure of this job. So if I can if I get a guy that can handle the market, that has been here a long time, that represents a franchise well, I don't know, like you have to, no one can be perfect all around. Maybe you have to give a little, which means in order for him to be so good at blocking out the noise and not feel everybody talking about him, all those things, maybe he's a little isolated around his teammates. Like, I don't know, maybe you can't have it both ways.
Right, but I'm having a problem reconciling comments that I heard from this man, such as, I don't know, is that what y'all wanted to see? They took the straitjacket off me? No. I mean, according to these articles, he's the problem.
Yeah.
He's the one who put the straitjacket on. So how do I reconcile all that in my head?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fair. Like, this is why I said all last season, the offense looks the way it looks because of Jalen. Like, he likes to run what he likes to run, but I also thought Zach Berman of The Athletic made a good point. I think it was an article this morning or yesterday, basically saying that Jalen has also talked about how he wants to take control of the offense because he's had so many different coordinators, almost in a way where he wants to be the one that has the ultimate say and control, because then it doesn't really matter. And there's consistency. Yeah. And honestly, I can see the argument for that too. Sure. So to James' point, I think there's a lot of gray in there too. Like a lot of talk on the station has been like Jalen won't do this, Jalen is this, Jalen is that. Like the truth is, even with the articles, there is gray to all of this.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, they
turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com.